Today we're going to talk about something as simple as salt and how it can change your life. You might think of salt just as something to add flavor to your food, but it's so much more than that. For centuries, people have believed in the healing powers of salt. Imagine, salt was once worth as much as gold, leading to wars and trade between countries. Amazing, right? So, how can something as simple as putting salt in the corners of your house make a difference? Let's journey through time to see how salt has been used to change lives and ideas. Then, I'll share a simple trick you can use right now to harness the power of salt in your own life. First, let's talk about how almost all major religions understand the importance of salt. Salt has been valued for its cleansing and holy properties for a long time. Jesus mentioned it more than 40 times in the Bible, and the Catholic Church uses it to make holy water. For Jews, it's a promise to God, and for Hindus, it's an important part of their spiritual practices. Even the Romans saw salt as a sign of pure life. But it's not just about religion. For centuries, salt has been used to protect against negative energy. In ancient Egypt, pharaohs burned salt to keep evil spirits away. People have used lines of salt to create invisible shields before going on journeys. It's also used in Buddhism as a defensive charm, and in sumo wrestling to cleanse bad vibes from the ring. Salt has been used in myths and legends to ward off witches and bad energy. Now, let's talk about how you can use the amazing power of salt in your life. Trust me, once you learn this method, there's no turning back. One fascinating aspect of salt is its structure. If you look at salt crystals under a microscope, you'll see beautiful sacred geometry. This idea is mind-blowing. Sacred geometry is everywhere, from seashell spirals to ancient buildings. It's like the blueprint of the universe. By using salt, you can tap into this divine frequency. Another amazing thing about salt is its connection to negative ions. Have you ever felt so calm and refreshed after a walk on the beach? You can thank negative ions for that feeling. Salt helps release these ions, which fill the air with positive energy. These ions are like natural mood boosters and antidepressants. This is why many people love Himalayan salt lamps. These lamps release negative ions that are great for your health. Medical studies have shown that negative ions can improve your mood by increasing oxygen flow to your brain and boosting serotonin levels. Okay, let's get to the practical part. Here's a simple method you can use to bring positive energy into your home. Get a clear glass and fill it about 2/3 of the way with sea salt. Fill the rest of the glass with water. Find a spot in your home where you feel negative energy lingers. It could be where you feel stressed or have problems reaching your goals. Place the glass there and leave it for 24 hours without moving it. When you come back the next day, check the water. If it's still clear, it means the negative energy has been absorbed. You can move the glass to another spot that needs cleansing. If the water looks dark or murky, it means there's deeper negative energy. Just repeat the process every 24 to 48 hours until the water stays clear. This means the energy has been cleansed. People have used salt in rituals for centuries because of its healing powers. This method is simple but very effective if you're feeling down because of negative energy in your home or life. The key to making this work is consistency and intention. By regularly incorporating this salt method into your routine, you'll create a space that supports your health and goals. Remember, salt can absorb a lot of negative energy, just like a sponge absorbs water. That's why rock salt, sea salt, and Himalayan pink salt are so highly valued in various cultures. If you can find these types of salt, that's even better. With just a glass and some salt, you can create a strong energy shield around your home. This method is not just a trendy New Age thing. Ancient cultures and spiritual traditions have supported it for a very long time. Think of it as a filter for your energy, keeping the bad stuff out and letting your intentions and wishes come true. Salt has always been a big deal in human civilization. The ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans knew this well. They didn't just see salt as a seasoning, but as a symbol of purity and preservation. The Greeks even had a saying, "There is nothing more useful than sun and salt." This shows their understanding of salt's life-giving and preserving properties. In ancient Egypt, salt was used in mummification to preserve bodies for the afterlife. This practice shows their deep reverence for salt, believing it had the power to ensure safe passage to the next world. Similarly, Roman soldiers were often paid with salt, giving rise to the word salary. This highlights salt's immense value and its role in the economy and daily life. In medieval Europe, salt was just as important. It was the foundation of trade, with entire economies depending on salt routes and deposits. Towns and cities that controlled salt supplies had considerable power. Salt taxes, known as the gabelle in France, were a significant revenue source for the monarchy, though they often caused social unrest, leading to the French Revolution. The spiritual significance of salt goes beyond historical practices into rituals and symbolism. For centuries, salt has been a symbol of wisdom and knowledge in many cultures. It represents the eternal, the unchanging, and the incorruptible. Using salt in religious ceremonies, from Christian holy water to Hindu pujas, signifies its role in sanctifying and protecting. Salt's mystical properties have been used in various folk traditions around the world. In Japan, sumo wrestlers throw salt into the ring before a match to purify the space. In Eastern European folklore, salt is placed at the entrance of homes to ward off evil spirits and bring good luck. These practices are rooted in a deep understanding of salt's symbolic and energetic power. By using salt intentionally, you can tap into its ancient legacy and harness its benefits to improve your environment and well-being. So, take a moment to appreciate the power of salt and incorporate it into your life with mindfulness and respect. Now, let's look at the science behind salt's ability to influence our environment and well-being. At a molecular level, salt is composed of sodium and chloride ions, essential for various physiological processes. When salt dissolves in water, it breaks down into these ions, creating a solution that can conduct electrical impulses, making salt an excellent medium for energy work and purification. Negative ions, abundant in natural settings like waterfalls and beaches, positively affect mood and overall well-being. These ions increase oxygen flow to the brain, resulting in higher alertness, decreased drowsiness, and more mental energy. They also help protect against germs in the air, reducing irritation that causes sneezing, coughing, or throat infections. By releasing negative ions, salt can create a similar effect, making it a natural purifier of both air and energy. Using salt to cleanse and purify spaces is both simple and profound. It requires a mindful approach, clear intention, and understanding of the energy dynamics within your environment. Start by selecting high-quality salt such as sea salt, Himalayan pink salt, or rock salt. These varieties are less processed than common table salt and retain more of their natural minerals and energetic properties. To begin the purification process, find a quiet moment to center yourself. Take a few deep breaths and focus on your intention to clear negative energy from your space. Pour the salt into a clear glass, covering about 1/3 of its volume. Then, slowly fill the glass with water, visualizing the salt's purifying power dissolving into the liquid. Place the glass in the area where you feel the energy is most stagnant or negative. As you place the glass, set a clear intention for the salt water to absorb and neutralize any negative energy present. Leave the glass undisturbed for at least 24 hours, allowing the salt to work its magic. When you return to the glass, observe the state of the water. If it remains clear, it indicates that the energy in the space has been cleansed. If the water appears cloudy or murky, it suggests that there is still negative energy that needs to be addressed. In this case, repeat the process every 24 to 48 hours until the water remains clear, signifying that the energy has been fully purified. By consistently and deliberately incorporating this salt purification method into your routine, you can create a space that supports your health, well-being, and goals. Salt, often overlooked in our daily lives, carries within it a profound mystery and potential. It's a substance so simple, yet so powerful, central to human civilization for millennia. The ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans knew this well. They didn't just see salt as a mere seasoning, but as a potent symbol of purity and preservation. The Greeks even had a saying, "There is nothing more useful than sun and salt." This reflects their understanding of the life-giving and preserving properties of salt. In ancient Egypt, salt was used in the mummification process, a critical element in the preservation of bodies for the afterlife. This practice underscores the deep reverence they had for salt, believing it had the power to ensure safe passage to the next world. Similarly, in the Roman Empire, soldiers were often paid with salt, giving rise to the word salary. This practice highlights salt's immense value and its role as a cornerstone of the economy and daily life. Fast forward to medieval Europe, where salt was just as crucial. It was the foundation of trade, with entire economies depending on salt routes and deposits. Towns and cities that controlled salt supplies wielded considerable power and influence. This era saw the establishment of salt taxes, known as the gabelle in France, which became a significant revenue source for the monarchy. However, these taxes were often a point of contention, contributing to the social unrest that led to the French Revolution. The spiritual significance of salt extends beyond historical practices into the realm of symbolism and ritual. For centuries, salt has been a symbol of wisdom and knowledge in many cultures. It represents the eternal, the unchanging, and the incorruptible. It's a symbol of permanence in an ever-changing world. The use of salt in religious ceremonies, from Christian holy water to Hindu pujas, signifies its role in sanctifying and protecting. Salt's mystical properties have been harnessed in various folk traditions around the world. For instance, in Japan, sumo wrestlers throw salt into the ring before a match to purify the space and protect against malevolent spirits. Similarly, in Eastern European folklore, salt is placed at the thresholds of homes to ward off evil and bring good fortune. These practices are not mere superstitions but are rooted in a deep understanding of salt's symbolic and energetic power. By using salt intentionally, you can tap into its ancient legacy and harness its benefits to improve your environment and well-being. So take a moment to appreciate the power of salt and incorporate it into your life with mindfulness and respect. The key to harnessing the power of salt lies in your intention and mindfulness. Whether you're using salt to cleanse your home, protect your energy, or enhance your spiritual practice, approach each ritual with a sense of reverence and gratitude. By doing so, you'll tap into the ancient wisdom of salt, unlocking its full potential to bring positive change into your life. Salt's role as a purifier and protector is a testament to its enduring significance across cultures and epochs. From ancient rituals to modern practices, it remains a vital tool for those seeking to enhance their well-being and align with their highest purpose. As you integrate these techniques into your life, you'll discover that salt, with its simplicity and power, can be a profound ally in your journey toward balance and positivity.